The main reason I ask this is that, especially on social media, it's very popular at the moment. A lot of people say, "Oh, it doesn't exist. Look at CrossFit. Look what they're doing and the amount of stuff that they're doing, and they're still increasing in strength and endurance at the same time, etc., etc." So, in terms of like from the literature side, how would you define the interference effect? That is the thing that kind of we're saying is the thing that's being affected.
The interference effect is not, it's not my definition. This is the original definition by Hickson from 1980, which was the original concurrent training paper. So the interference effect simply refers to any endurance aerobic, however you want to coin it, any aerobic or endurance training induced attenuation of strength development. So if someone is performing strength and endurance or aerobic training within the same regimen, the aerobic training induced inhibition of strength development when compared with performing strength training alone. So we're absolutely not saying you can't get stronger if you incorporate aerobic training methods in your training program. Like, we know that's not true, don't we? However, in certain cases, the level of strength development you achieve will be lower than an individual who wasn't performing that additional aerobic training. People who, like you saying online about it's a myth, it doesn't happen. Like, then I wouldn't say it's a myth. Like, it's not incorrect, but I'm going to get my numbers slightly wrong here because I did a scan of I did an evaluation of the literature a few years ago. So the numbers aren't going to be completely correct. But in terms of concurrent training studies, so studies that have examined the interference effect and had a concurrent training condition and a strength training alone condition, about 40% of those studies report some form of interference characteristics. Okay, so 40% of training studies in concurrent in that concurrent training design do report interference. So it's not a myth; it does happen. There's demonstrable empirical evidence that it can happen. But that also means 60% of studies who've investigated concurrent training in the interference effect have reported no interference whatsoever. So it tells you a couple of things there, right? Like, it tells you A, it can happen; B, it can also be avoided. And the way I look at it, I think the realities of it in a lot of cases, it happens when you get your programming wrong. Good practice, good programming, rigorous, thought out programming. It's actually not particularly difficult to avoid that interference effect, which is why, like people online, and if I highlighted there, you do get athletes who develop, or that what's the new cool thing, hybrid athlete or whatever. Yeah, you do develop those aerobic and endurance-based characteristics alongside strength and power characteristics like CrossFit, etc. So, like, you absolutely can train concurrently and still perform really well for your sport and still develop strength. But there are things that we do need to consider to avoid that interference effect. With the CrossFit example as well, if you think about CrossFit as a sport, it's a concurrent sport, isn't it? It's not a, like, you can't only have those strength and power neuromuscular characteristics to be a successful CrossFit athlete. Okay, you've got to also have the metabolic element and to perform well there. So it's a concurrent sport. So of course, like, the interference effect isn't particularly relevant to CrossFit because it's a concurrent sport. However, if a CrossFit athlete wanted to get really strong or maybe improve their strength sports or their strength skills, I'm not maybe into CrossFit, so I'm probably using all the wrong terms there. That athlete might want to be mindful of the volume of aerobic metabolic stimulus that they undertake during that block, that they really are targeting those strength and power characteristics.